Hi, welcome back to the Introduction to Python Programming. This is Section 1, Environment Setup. And in this lesson, we're going to, of course, go over through the steps to set up our environment so that we can program in Python, because that's going to be a critical step to even get started. So the lesson objectives for this video lesson include installing the Python interpreter, installing Pycharm, that's the IDE or the development environment that we're going to use. And then, of course, we're going to confirm installation success for those items. Now, it's not listed as a bullet on there, but we're also going to install the Git version control system, which will be used throughout this course. Version control is a very popular and very useful concept in the industry. In fact, it's so popular and useful that if you go to a job interview and you've never used version control, it's seen as a red flag by many. So we're going to start to get over that hurdle right away, and we're going to use version control throughout this course. And that comment 8F4AE1 refers to a version control comment in the Git interface. And we'll see how to use that after we install the version control system or program. Now, resource installation, Python and Pycharm, and then there's also Git in the middle there. These instructions are for the Windows operating system. A lot of these programs can be installed on other operating systems such as Linux. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go over the instructions for those operating systems. I'm going to use the most popular operating system, which is Windows. We're going to install the Python interpreter. We're going to go to the website that's indicated, and we're going to download Python 3.9.1 or whatever version is the latest version when you're watching this. That's going to be Python version 3, not Python version 2, which you do still find a lot of those out there, but we're going to go with the newest and greatest. Then for the Git version control, we're going to do the same thing. And then for our Pycharm community, we're also going to do the same thing. And for most of these, we can just follow the default options when we install them. I'm going to jump into the lab and show you how to download and install all this software. So let's get going. All right, here I am in the Windows environment. I'm going to go ahead and install these items that we discussed in the lesson. Let me go ahead and unclip that so it goes away. I have a browser that's pointing to each resource. So let's go ahead and start with Python first. I'm at the python.org homepage. I'm going to go ahead and find the download section. And I can see download Python 3.9.1. I'm going to go ahead and select that option. I can see that it's downloading here. I'm going to go ahead and open up my folder and go to my downloads folder. Even though I could just click here, I can see that it's in my downloads folder. I'm going to right click and select run as administrator. Now, I always do that just to be safe, because while a lot of programs will work without running as administrator, there are some that give you some trouble if you don't run it as administrator. Now, I'm going to go ahead and select add path or add Python 3.9 to path. That's going to make a environmental variable that makes it easier to run Python programs. And I'm going to select install now. And I'm going to pause the video and come back once this finishes. All right, it says setup was successful. I'm going to go ahead and select disable path length limit. That's recommended. I'm going to close this. And now Python should be installed. And we can double check this by opening a command prompt. So command, I'm going to run this as administrator. And I'm going to type in Python. And there we go. So the command or the command prompt has found the Python installation. I'm going to go ahead and exit that. Let's go ahead and run a Python command, right? Print hello. All right, that's working. Exit with the brackets, and then I'll just go ahead and type in exit again. All right. We are successful with that. Let's move on to the next thing, which is the Git version control system. I'm at the git-scm.com domain. I'm going to say download 2.30.0 for Windows, but if there's a newer version for you, go ahead and download that. New versions of software get released all the time. Again, I can see the download occurring here in the bottom left corner. It looks like it's done. Go back to my downloads folder. I'm going to right click and run as administrator. I'm going to select next. Now, if you know where you want to install it, feel free to change the path, but I'm just going to go with the defaults. Again, next. Lots of next here. Lots of next. Just go with the defaults. Don't even worry about what the options are at this point. Install. All right, I'm gonna pause the video and come back once this is complete. All right, it says it's complete. I'm gonna go ahead and uncheck the view release notes. I don't wanna see that. I'm gonna finish. Now what I'm gonna do to test the Git installation is I'm gonna right click and select Git Bash here. And it looks like it's working. I'm gonna go ahead and type in a command ls, which is a Linux command, and that's working. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in exit. Now let's move on to the final piece of software, Pycharm. I'm at the JetBrains/Pycharm domain. I'm gonna select download. And for this course, the community edition is going to be perfectly fine. So I'm going to download that variant. And I can see again that it is downloading in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while that download completes. All right, that file is finished downloading. So let's go ahead and take a look in our downloads folder. I'm going to right-click it and run as administrator. I'm going to select next, next. I know I'm on a 64-bit machine, so I'm going to go ahead and select the 64-bit launcher. I'm going to create associations to the .py extension. The .py extension deals with Python files, so that when our operation sees a file with a .py extension, it's going to use Pycharm to open that file. Next, and then install. And I'm going to pause the video and come back once that installation is complete. All right, it's finished installing. I'm going to go ahead and select Run Pycharm Community Edition and select Finish. I'm going to confirm I've read and accept the terms. I'm not going to send statistics. And I'm going to select a new project. All right. I'm going to select Previously Configured Interpreter. I'm not going to use the virtual environment. I'm going to select these three dots. And I'm going to select these three dots here, and I'm going to select where the Python interpreter was installed. And to find out where the Python is installed, I'm going to go ahead and run a command. So I'm going to type in command in my search. I'm going to right-click command, run as administrator. I'm going to go ahead and type in Python. It's going to start the Python engine. And then I'm going to import OS. This is a library. We'll go over what that means exactly later on in the course too, but we can just copy this for now. And then I'm going to type os.path.dir name. And I'm going to type in sys.executable. And it shows us where that's installed, and that's what we need to find in our little search path here. But we actually need to make some changes to Windows if we have not made these changes already. So I'm going to go to the control panel, because Windows likes to hold our hand a little too much, and it actually hides things from us. So File Explorer Options. I'm going to select View. I'm going to show hidden files, folders, and drives. I am not going to hide empty drives, and I'm not going to hide extensions for known file types. And I'm going to click Apply. OK. So we need to go to Users. See Users right here, Vagrant, down there, and then we need to go to App Data. Now I don't see an App Data folder here because it's still hiding it. So let's just type it in. So I'll type in App Data. There it is. Oh, I found it. Let's go ahead and open that. Oh, go to Local. Go to Programs, go to Python 3.9, and then there's our executable right there. That's what we want. We'll select OK. Make available to all projects. Hit OK. I'm going to create the, you know what? I'm going to unselect that. I'm not going to create the default main.py file. We're going to add our own main.py file. All right, so this is where our project was created. We'll go ahead and right click. Actually, let me close this information first. I'm going to right click, select new file, and I'm going to call this main.py. And we do need to test to make sure this is working. So I'm going to just select print, or type in print with quotes and say hello, because that's a very basic Python command. And run file in Python cancel. Let's go to run. Whoop. Run. main. And sure enough, here we go. It's working. It was able to run our file and run the command in that file. So we know that's working. Our Python's working and our Pycharm's working. So let's go ahead and take a look at our version control real fast and see how we're going to navigate through that. So I'm going to go to my documents. I'm just going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it Python. Call it whatever you like though. I'm going to click into this folder. Now I'm going to go to my browsers. And I'm going to go to the URL where I need to download this this Git project that's going to allow us to move through the various resources that we need for this course. So I'm going to put a link to this in the description for this video as well. So it's the GitHub /Python tutorial. And we're going to copy this link right here. We're going to go into our folder. We're going to right click and select git bash here. And we're going to issue a command to our version control software. We're going to git clone. I'm going to right click and select paste. I must not have copied that. So let's try it again. That's copy, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to select in there. Right click and select copy. We need to get that URL and then we need to paste it in here. Okay, so I need to paste this URL into here. Git clone and then the URL. And that's going to clone it. And then I'm going to ls to show the directory contents. And I'm going to cd, which stands for change directory, into Python. I'm not going to finish typing it. I'm going to hit tab, which will finish it for me. Now, if you have multiple items that start with the same thing, you'll get an option for which one to select. So you'll want to type out the name as far as to where it's the only unique item that starts that way in that directory. And then tab will work without having to, try to select the available options. Now we're in there. Now there was a commit mentioned in the slideshow, so we're going to want to get that commit. And that's going to go like git checkout. And then we need to put that little hash in there, which is that special unique string that indicates where in the project that data is. F4AE1. You want to make sure you get it right. If we type it in wrong, we won't get the right response. Okay, so switching to, so that looks like it worked. Now let's check the contents. Python tutorial, section 1, that's what the section we're in. And this is the PDF cheat sheet for this lesson. All right, so that worked. And in each lesson, I'll go ahead and show you how to check out the commit for that lesson so that we always stay on the right page there. And that's how we're going to get our questions and our answers as well. All right, so that finishes the lab section of this tutorial. Let's go ahead and finish out the slideshow for this lesson. So here we are, we're back at the slideshow and we finished installing all this software and we tested it and made sure that it worked. So we tested our configuration. And section conclusion, we installed the course resources, we confirmed installation success, and that finishes out this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you.